Welcome back, guys, to another episode of a Pinball Podcast. And today I'm going to talk about something that I feel will instantly make your pinball game so much better, or your pinball playing so much better. And this tip will really help, or at least I hope it'll really help, the average to below average player. If you feel like you're struggling a little bit, you're not sure what to do, this tends to get you to the next level fairly quickly. I know it helped me really open up just my mindset overall for how I'm playing a certain pin, or how to understand the rule sets a little bit better. And even if you're above average player, this might help too. You might not be doing this, you might be, I don't know. But I know that there are several top players that do perform this certain tip, and I know it's something that I utilize across the board. And what the tip is, it's simply called road mapping. Now, what road mapping really is we all know whenever we get on the game kind of what we need to do, whether it's the thing or, what mode we need to get into and all that. But do we know the most efficient way to either stack that mode with something? Do we know the most efficient way to get points out of a pin? And so what road mapping really helps with is it takes a lot of the guesswork out to where we're not necessarily worried about just trying to blow up everything. In competition, what we're worried about is just trying to keep our head above water and outpace the other players. And an easy way to do that is by road mapping. So let's go ahead and get into it. What exactly is road mapping? Well, it's taking certain tasks that you need to do in the game in order to progress in the game, and you stack those tasks up on top of each other. You know that if you get to point A, you're ready to get to point B. If you get to point B, you're ready to get to point C. And everybody's roadmap can be different. You really want to dial it in according to what your certain skill set is. And this tends to work really well, especially for the modern games. Now, you can use this across the board for any era, although EMs are obviously a little bit easier to do because they're not, it's mostly just bonus and hitting down targets. So that part is really easy. But where it really comes in to help you is mainly on the moderns, because a modern game is so layered on the rule set that you really need to figure out what you can do that's efficient for you. And once you figure out what's efficient for you, that's where you find that you can be able to progress a little bit further in the game in relation to what your skill set is. And that becomes very important whenever you are in competitions, because obviously the further you get in the game, especially if you're scoring points by doing that, the more likely you are to win. So for instance, we'll take Walking Dead. We'll use that as an example. And again, your roadmap is completely determined upon what your skill set is. And some of the main elements of a roadmap, and we'll just use Walking Dead for instance with this. The elements of a roadmap is basically understanding how to start your mode and how to get to a certain multi-balls that are easy to get to, if that's your choice and style of play. So if I'm taking Walking Dead, for instance, I know that the drop targets on the side are the supply drop targets, which has first aid, weapons, and food. But what I also know, and hopefully you guys do too now, hopefully you did already, but now you will know, those drop targets, they allow you to basically do other things within the game itself, because first aid, it will actually increase the value of your prison walkers. So if you know that you're going to be doing a prison multi-ball on Walking Dead, then your most vital supply to drop, or one of the first things that you want to get done before anything, is dropping a target, even if it's just one drop target, when first aid is lit, because that will lock it in for the other drop targets to drop to complete first aid, obviously. And so that's something right there. So get to thinking about what your plan of action is, and you basically want to know what stacks that you want to do for your particular game, and that will help you develop the roadmap. So if I know I'm going the prison route, I know as soon as I plunge, I get a ball and a flipper. Even if there's a ball save, I'll typically will start hitting prison first because I want to get that started. But if there's no ball save, I know immediately, and you can do this even with the ball save, you can go after the first aid drop targets because you know that that will help your stack on prison. That'll help you basically increase the value of that. And the other way you could do it is if you want to do a well walker multi-ball, then your supply that you want to use is food, because food will basically increase the value. I can't remember if it's shot multiplier or the value for well walker, but I do know it increases it. So that part is very important. So we start developing our roadmap here that I know if I'm going well walker, well, I got to get my food targets first. That's so important before I do anything else. I know prison, I got to do first aid first. I know that how important that is. Then on the other parts now, we can start developing out even more. I like to use certain multipliers within the game. So if we're developing our roadmap based off that, I know that I need to hit certain shots in order to get the in order to get the walker kills. Because once I get the walker kills, that'll make a shot multiplier in an in-lane shot worth a little bit more. And if you're listening to this and you're not sure what the rule set is, I know it can be complicated. So what I want you to do real quick is start thinking about a game that you might have at home, or you might play a lot on location, or just a game that you love, and think about the things within that game that you know you need to do. Because early on, you need to start thinking about, okay, the main thing I want to do is start a mode. All right, is there anything before starting that mode that I need to do in order to make that mode worth more? Is there something I can do before then? That's an easy way to do it as well. Other things to kind of help you start developing your roadmap a little bit is understanding where are the multipliers at? How can I do something to make this particular shot worth double, triple, quadruple? That part's important. What particular shots can I do in order to juice up a multi-ball? What particular shots or actions can I do to light my mystery award? The reason why that's important, because in competition, oftentimes the mysteries are deterministic. So you know what mystery award is coming if you pay attention. And that could definitely help a ton, because it might be extra points. It might be light locks. It could be a vast array of things depending on what the game is. So that's a lot. That is very important as well. Congo comes to mind, especially when you're doing diamond hunt multi-ball, because the diamonds in there will build up your overall jackpots for whenever you do get into, I believe it's called volcano multi-ball. So keep that in mind. Whatever game you're playing, start thinking of your pin like that. Develop a roadmap. And this can be at different levels too. You don't have to basically figure out how to progress all the way to the wizard mode in the most efficient manner. What I recommend doing, and what I do for every single game, especially if I'm studying a certain game that's going to be at a herb format or something like that, I want to know the exact actions that I need to do in order to get me to the place where I'm trying to go. That makes sense so far? And Guardians of the Galaxy is a great example of that. There's certain modes that I feel I can do a little bit easier than others, and therefore I'll take those modes a little bit earlier, and I'll adjust my roadmap on certain games according to what certain type of competition I'm playing or what format I'm playing. So if I'm doing pin golf, the roadmap might be a little bit different. If I'm doing a herb format where I'm trying just to pump and dump my score, I'll be definitely setting things up a lot differently. If I'm doing match play and it's just me against 3 other players, I'll be doing something a little bit different. And also head to head, I might do something a little bit different, because a lot of times too, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing what the pin is giving you. If there's no ball save, you might not be able to take that shot that sends the ball out of control. You might need to play a little bit more conservative. If there's a long ball save for multi-ball and you're in some type of switch frenzy hit, it's important to know that, because now you know you're going to drain. Going back to Walking Dead, for instance, I know that the stacks that I want to do are food in order to get my well walker, juiced up, Then I want to get into Well Walker. And then because competition mode, I believe the way it is now, competition mode, you can bring a mode in while you're in, or light a mode while you're in multi-ball, whereas competition install, you can't do that. But I know that I want to bring in my Well Walker, and then I know Well Walker is a switch hit multi-ball. So therefore, I also want to bring in Riot, the mode Riot, which is located right by the prison. And the reason for that is that mode is also switch base. And then we could take it a step further. And once I do those things, I know I've got two other vital things I need to do. I either need to start my Bloodbath Multiball, which is basically just dropping down your drop targets, I think 4 times total, or maybe 5, I forget the exact number, but you want to drop those down to start Bloodbath Multiball. Reason being, because I can stack that with Well Walker, and now that's also a switched hit frenzy type mode. And then the next thing I know I need to do is hit the 2 targets, if I haven't already, that are the little stand-up targets that are up by the prison, because then if I hit my Riot shot again, that lights a 2x playfield multiplier for 30 seconds. And then I'm still paying attention to where my Well Walker or my Walker hits are, or my Walker kills, sorry, where my Walker kills are, because then if I go over, say, like a CDC shot, right, my left ramp, it comes all the way around to my right flipper, I might have a 3 clear up to 8, 9, 10x shot right there. And we're talking points that are worth a ton, whether it's me hitting the Riot after I go over that in lane with my X lit, whether it's hitting Riot or whether it's hitting Well Walker super jackpot there. I've had some massive scores based off that. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is something that you can do in competition, because it's very hard depending on what the competition is, but it is something that you can strive for. And you know that hill gets a little bit higher to climb, you going for the longer range goal. So it's okay to get the lower range goals, because you'll find you start going for those lower range goals and you know how to get there, you're going to get there a lot more efficient. And we're talking just strictly from your most basic average player. If you know your average, I highly recommend doing this. It'll help so much. If you're above average, I would still recommend doing it. It's the easiest way for me to understand how to play a new game. That once I do start figuring out the rule set, now I'm figuring out, okay, how can I play this game efficiently? What shots am I capable of making? Okay, if I'm capable of making a certain orbit or a certain ramp, now I'm thinking, what modes deal with that left orbit or that left ramp? What actions of hitting that orbit or that ramp progress me further in the game? And you can work backwards that way as well when you're starting to develop your roadmap. And again, it can be as intricate as you want to make it, but I highly recommend starting out, keep it simple. It will up your game so much. And other than that, in the future, I'll probably put out a video showing exactly how I do go about road mapping, and I'll even give probably a full example on something like Walking Dead. And like I said, you can, the great part about it is you can take this and you can adjust it according to whatever format you're playing also. Anyhow, I appreciate you guys listening. I hope that this really does help you. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. You guys can contact me at APinballPodcast@gmail.com. And that's all I got. I'll see you guys later.